Hey, what's going on, people? It's your boy Brown Baldy here, coming in to a new reaction of Critical Drinker. I made a previous reaction to one of his videos. I believe it was for The Last of Us Season 2. I think it was called Entirely Predictable Disaster, which it was. And today, it seems like he made a new video based on the Fantastic Four. And it looked interesting. I'm curious to see what it's about. I get the feeling I know what it's about. I didn't see the name of it, but I know it's a Fantastic Four, and I know it's a picture of Sue Storm. So I get the feeling I know what it's steering towards. But either way, instead of trying to figure it out and guessing, let's just see. Alright, so I'm gonna go to my internet, do my internet, mama. Alright, okay, and Critical Drinker, 2.3 million subscribers, and here it is, the Fantastic Four Return of the MCU. Okay, now that I'm familiar with. So let's watch this real quick. Don't forget to go to the Critical Drinker, to his channel, and subscribe to him, show him support, and let's see what's up.
Oh dear, 2025 hasn't exactly been a bumper year for the MCU, with back-to-back flops in the shape of Brave New World and Thunderbolts. And yes, with less than 400 million at the global box office and its theatrical run all but over, even the most die-hard shills have been forced to concede that Thunderbolts is absolutely a flop. And call me crazy here, but something tells me that Ironheart isn't...
It remains to be seen. Some people did like Thunderbolts, but I heard still did. I think it's in between. It didn't necessarily do too bad, but it didn't do as good either. And for what I understand, when movies are made, they have to be really good in order to justify more spending in a sequel and etc. So it just did good enough. So where I think it wasn't like a total loss, but it definitely was not as profitable as they were hoping it would be. But Brave New World, I have not seen it, but yeah. And Ironheart, I'm not sold on the character. It's just hard for me to be sold on her character, but whatever. Let's continue.
I'm gonna turn things around for them.
You've bitten off a hell of a lot more than you can chew. I could chew a lot.
That means that everything now rests on the Fantastic Four, the third attempt in the past 20 years to make Marvel's first family work on the big screen. And I think it's fair to say, things aren't exactly shaping up well for them.
Well, I gotta say, I do like the way the Thing looks. I remember in the original old one, the Thing was, what's his name? Forgot the actor's name, but he's a good actor. He comes out in that series called S.H.I.E.L.D. He looked okay. In the second movie, the one where Miles Teller was playing Mr. Fantastic, the Thing looked cool, but too CGI. And here, he looks just in between. I like the fact that they gave him like a better build. He looks burly and stocky from the top the way he should be, right? Arms and everything, Dorito shape. And he looks more menacing in my opinion. So I like his look, and I like the fact that they gave him that big, oversized, brows and stuff. I can't say I like the costumes, but it's definitely classic.
I mean, it started out well enough. The first trailer came out to a mostly decent reception that actually generated some positive buzz for a change. Imagine that in 2025. People were appreciating the comic-accurate costumes, the charming retro-futuristic 1960s aesthetic, the emphasis on family and teamwork, and the prospect of a Galactus that was more than just a giant cosmic space farts. Great stuff, Marvel. After half a decade of generic, forgettable slop, the MCU finally seemed to be doing something with a unique look and feel again. They were fully embracing their comic book origins, goofy costumes and all, instead of trying to make everything look cool and slick and modern. Maybe, after a quarter of a century of failed attempts, someone might actually do justice to the Fantastic Four. But leave it to Marvel to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. The problem started out small at first, like the casting of Reed Richards, which turned out to be trickier than expected. Apparently, the studio approached at least 3 other actors to play Reed, and they all turned it down. But why would they do such a thing? Who in their right mind would turn their back on a leading role in a big budget Marvel movie with a huge paycheck at the end of it? Well, if I was a cynical man, I'd say it's because they wrote Reed to be a weak, cowardly pussy who gets bossed around by his far more...
And if that is the case, and no disrespect to Mr. Pascal, he would have no issue playing that. He has no issue playing that particular male character. But thankfully, it's good to see that there are some male actors out there that still have a semblance of self-respect. But I digress.
More powerful and assertive wife for most of the movie, and the leading men of Hollywood are getting almost as tired of playing characters like that as we are of watching them. But then, like a knight in rainbow-coloured armour, a saviour arrived to take up the mantle.
Exactly. True. Yes. I didn't have to say what I had to say. It's right there.
That's right, it was Pedro...
I'm not gonna lie, I like that actress. She's very beautiful. I don't know what is it about her.
I'll appear in literally anything past...
Yeah, I think it's her eyes. It's the kind of eyes that just level you as a man. You know what I'm saying? Whew, my goodness. I remember I had first seen her in that movie Hobbs and Shaw. It's that little spin-off from Fast and Furious, where it was mainly the characters of The Rock and Jason Statham, and she played Jason Statham's sister. It's like this whole big thing, whatever. But ever since then, I liked her, and I definitely like. She came in that movie Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix. She played his wife. She did a great job there. So she's a good actress. Like, not only is she gorgeous, she's a great actress. So full package, right up there with what's it called? Margot Robbie and what's her name? Forgot, but whatever. You know what I mean. Great actress.
Pascal, an actor that clearly saw the meme about him taking on far too many roles and said... More! But hey, who knows? Maybe Pedro would buck the career-long trend of taking on high-profile but inappropriate roles and deliver an absolutely killer performance as Reed Richards.
You know, I have to be honest. You know, one can argue, because before Pedro Pascal, there was Samuel L. Jackson. He's still acting, but back in the day, it was the notion that he was everywhere, where he was. But it was really rare for him to be in a movie where no matter what, you didn't like him. Pedro Pascal, on the other hand, he's just like... I'm not saying he's not a good actor. Not at all. He is. He can act. What I am saying is that I happen to believe that maybe that's what it is. They're writing all these male characters that are not very masculine per se or respectable, etc. And a lot of the male actors are just because if Pedro Pascal was such an amazing actor, as far as I'm concerned, he should have been #1 pick. However, there was 3 actors before him until he accepted the role, and that's because the other ones didn't want it. So basically, yeah. He's like to a certain degree the saving grace, but I mean it's sad. He's still making money, but I still want to give my 2 cents on the matter.
But then there was the casting of Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, who's 38 in real life and somehow manages to look even older on screen. But, Pascal is like 50, so it would have been pretty weird to pair him up with some hot young 25-year-olds. Nothing to worry about so far, so let's keep going, shall we? Then Vanessa revealed in an interview with Entertainment Weekly back in April that this movie was going to explore the gender politics of Sue Storm and women's place in 1960s culture.
Oh dear.
Fuck.
Exactly.
Okay, sure. That kind of statement can mean a lot of different things. I mean, the film's set in the 1960s, which was a pretty important time for feminism and women's lib and all that other stuff, so I guess it would make sense to at least acknowledge it. Maybe she just means the movie will present an interesting contrast between the kind of expectations and questions that women in 1960s America were grappling with versus the modern-day MCU, where they basically act like obnoxious caricatures of men if they were written by 16-year-old gender studies graduates from from Portland's. So,
For real, dude.
fine, we're still hanging in there, I guess. Nothing that's gonna spoil anyone's fun yet.
But wait! There's more!
Then there was the decision to make the Silver Surfer, one of the most iconic antagonists in all of the Marvel comics, into a female. Because of...
Yes, for sure. I don't know if that's still a thing, or they're gonna. I think they backtrack on it, but I'm sure he'll explain it right now. But the fact that they were even gonna do that is completely and entirely unacceptable. It's bullshit. Like, it really, really is. Like, you want to make a what? If you want to make a character, make a character. Don't what we know and love. That's all I'm saying. That's all I ask. I don't think it's much, you know. But yeah, like, who the even think about making her a female? Like, I don't have a problem with that. Just make your own story, make your own character, you know, create your own fucking lore. Sorry, but that one really pisses me off. Like, Silver Surfer, I'm not even the biggest fan of Silver Surfer, but that's how much I respect that character. Because even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, I can't even tell the entirety of the story, lore, etc. I know that he's a shit. And that he is beloved. And for them to even dare to even try, it's just an insult in itself. But whatever, digress. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Of course.
Oh, come on!
But
For real.
Drinker, you clueless connoisseur of comic calamities, I hear you say. If you read the Earth X limited run comic from 1999, you'd know that there's an alternate universe where Shala Bao becomes the Silver Surfer instead of Norrin Rads. Thank you, imaginary strawman that I used to awkwardly transition into my next point. There was indeed a female Silver Surfer in a limited run series set in an alternate reality from 25 years ago, so I guess that technically makes this lore accurate? Sure, let's just go with that. The point is, every time another one of these revelations comes out, it became just a little bit harder to ignore what seemed to be a growing pattern. Like, if Marvel were trying to refute allegations that the MCU was taking over everything that they did, they were making life pretty hard for themselves.
But wait!
Honestly, they can keep saying that that shit's gonna take over, but it sure as hell don't seem like it to me. I mean, whatever, fuck it, right?
There's...
And then, last
For
week,
real.
we began to hear reports of a test screening for the latest cut of the movie, where major details of both the plot and the ending were leaked. A test screening that basically confirmed everyone's suspicions. Now, I'm sorry for what I'm about to show you.
So,
Look, I said I'm sorry, okay? If there was another way to do this, I absolutely would.
how do I want to phrase this? Even though it's a team of one woman and 3 guys, I think that you're going to have a situation at the end of the movie where it's women who save the day. And you're like, why? Why? Can't Reed at least be involved? You know, you're like, come on, man.
Before this is over, I do want to make a point. Sue Storm, the potential for her power is actually the most dangerous because she literally has, it's not just her ability to be invisible, she has not telekinesis, she can create invisible force fields. And she could be pretty creative with those. I remember there was an old animated series of the Fantastic Four, and what happened was that Sue Storm's character got brainwashed, hypnotized, controlled. I don't know. Point is, she became evil, and then she started whipping all of Fantastic Four's ass. Like, she had like this like a pretty sexy getup because Sue Storm is actually quite sexy. They just usually don't draw her that way. But she wanted to be sexy, she could be very sexy, and she had like this kind of like this BDSM type gear. You know what I'm saying? You can see that cleavage. I think she was even wearing a mask with like a few spikes, almost like a little mohawk, and you can see her blonde hair. And she was just beating the shit of the Fantastic Four. Like they couldn't even lay a hand on her. But yeah, to her credit, it looks like if she really wanted to, she probably could save the world. But there is a difference where it happens and where they just do it deliberately just for the sake of doing it instead of actually convincing us that's the case. They didn't have to use that before. Like, for example, a good example of good female heroes would be Beatrice Kiddo, Kill Bill, Sigourney Weaver, Ripley from the Alien franchise, Sarah Connor, Princess Leia. Like, It's a lot to pick from, but they never try to rub it in their faces, and they always did it in such a good way, in a great way that said, that makes sense, for sure, I like that. As a matter of fact, I like it more because it makes sense, but whatever.
And like, come on.
Right.
Eloquently phrased as always, Grace. Good job. I mean, if even one of the biggest Marvel shows on the planet is calling out your movie for being too girl bossy, you know you've got fucking problems. Anyway, the gist here is that the movie culminates with Sue Storm joining forces with the female Silver Surfer to defeat Galactus, with a little help from a superpowered baby, leaving the rest of the lads with, well, not a whole lot to do. Oh my goodness, it literally is the meme.
Girls get it done.
And all of this begs the rather obvious question. Why? Why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep pushing the same trope that clearly isn't working and hasn't for years now? Like, did nobody at the studio put up their hand and say, we've been doing this whole MCU thing for like 5 years now, nobody likes it, everyone's making fun of us, and it's losing us a shit ton of money. Can we maybe try something else now?
We keep making the same movie over and over and pandering to everyone, but suddenly it's not working. Then we've got to pander harder.
When I think of Marvel and their beloved girl bosses, I'm reminded of a junkie trying.
We're Americans here. We don't do the right thing because it's wrong. We just keep doing the wrong thing until it turns out right.
And failing to get clean. They know that what they've been doing is slowly killing them. They try hard to get away from it and find a better way of living, but somehow they always drift back into their old habits. By all accounts, the test audience was pretty unimpressed with the film, especially the decision to sideline 3 out of the 4 members of the team. I mean, the clue is in the title, lads. It's called the Fantastic Four. But who knows? Maybe there's still time for them to rework the ending, give the boys a chance to be heroes for a change, and ditch the girl boss who does everything trope once and for all. I hope for their sake they do, otherwise they might just find themselves with 3 flops in a row this year. My hopes, however, are not high for the Fantastic Four. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
So, that was Critical Drinker. I love that guy, I love watching him. Very, very based man. That was his take on. So it looks as though they didn't backtrack. It looks like it is going to be a female Silver Surfer. Just for that sake alone, I don't care if the movie's good. I'm not going to watch it. I'm sorry, but I can't. Like I can't in good conscience support that bullshit. If I watch it, I ain't gonna spend money to go to theaters. I'll tell you that right there. Like I'm gonna wait till it comes out like an DVD, or maybe my sister, or I don't know, somebody just puts it on and randomly see it. But I sure as hell ain't gonna invest none of my money on that shit. But that's just me. If y'all want to go do it, by all means. But that's just me. I would advocate not to support that crap because messing with there's an old saying, messing with your kids' cash is all you seem to understand. And this is no difference. But yeah, that sucks. Hey, whatever. It's their time and money. What can I say? But either way, that was the Critical Drinker. That was his take on the return of the MCU. Particularly when it comes to the Fantastic Four. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you like my reaction, if you like my content, please do me a favor and give me a like and subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. How about you, bro? And thank you so much for joining me. This is your boy, Brown Baldy, and you have a good rest of your day, and y'all take care.